Welcome, everyone, to our episode of Meet the Members of the Informed Entrepreneur LinkedIn Group. Today, we're honored to have Mike with us. Mike, welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
It's, not only are you here, Mike, but you're also our first. So we'll have you in our Hall of Fame and our museums and the like. Okay, so we're excited. All right. Mike, one of the things we ask our guests is to share with us their elevator pitch. That way we get to know their business as quickly as possible. And we also learn, maybe because we're all trying to do better, we learn how to give an elevator pitch. So with that pressure, you're ready.
Yes.
All right. So, Mike, you're on.
Well, the name of my company is Lucid Impact, and we're best suited to help people who don't want to have to deal with the details and ongoing attention that need to be paid to growing an online presence. So the best customers, the best people we've worked with, right, are the ones that have thought things like, I wish someone else would take care of it. I just want it done. I don't want to have to worry about it. And so what we've been doing for over 20 years, quickly, effectively, and quietly, is taking the burden off, letting small business owners focus on what's important instead of having to deal with all this online stuff, and providing robust and effective online solutions. In short, we're the aspirin for a small business's website headache.
Wonderful. All right. And so we work, you're saying websites, but it sounds like you also have a marketing component to this whole thing. It sounds like you look at it from how do we get more business. Is that accurate?
Yes. Most people are familiar with the term website, but when I say website, I do mean online presence, which means all the capacities, social media profiles, all the things that go into getting someone's message out.
Wonderful. All right. And, you work with a lot of small, medium-sized businesses. What do you find to be their biggest frustration in this area?
Their biggest frustration is that they're spending time on something they don't really want to be spending time with, and as good as they might ever get, they're never going to be able to have the same level of expertise and effectiveness that I've had because I've been doing nothing else for 20 years, right? So either they're going to decide to embark on a new career, which will take them another 2 decades, right? Or they're going to want to hand it over to somebody that can just get it done for them and get it done correctly so they can have that time to have the business that they want to be building.
Okay. Excellent. Is there an example you can share with us of where this process has worked particularly good, where a client just had that monkey on his back and was able to offload the monkey to you? And
yes. Oh no, absolutely. There was a law firm that needed to change its brand identity. And they were under some time pressure to do it. And these are wonderful lawyers, but they're not web developers. And they needed to make sure that the years and years of marketing that they'd had built up, right, stayed intact. So how do you make sure that all of the branding gets changed, all of the design changes, the look changes, right, the new staff comes in, all of that stuff gets done while not losing any traction? Well, there are many things that I've learned over the years how to do, how to make that happen. And I was able to just get the basic information from them, go in, do my stuff, and at the end of the day, come in on time, in budget, and not have them lose a single bit of what they had worked so hard to build over the last, I don't know if it had been 10 or 15 years of marketing that they had already done.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds a little bit as if you actually work as part of the team rather than a vendor. Is that accurate?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm smart enough to know that I don't know everything, so if there's something that I don't know really, really well, I'm going to go and work with someone that's going to help me make sure I get that result. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to give a client an education on how the refrigerator works. I just want to give them a cold soda. I just want to give them what they asked for.
Right. Yeah, and so where I would traditionally see a client-vendor relationship being that I would hire that vendor. If I was the client, I'd hire that vendor to do specific tasks. I'd say, here's my list of tasks I need done. What will you charge me to do those tasks? Where it sounds as though you probably can do that. what it sounds like, you'd actually help me, no, even better than that. You wouldn't even help me figure out what the tasks are. You'd just figure out what the tasks are as
Yes.
if you're a staff member for that company, as if you actually
Oh,
work for that law
absolutely.
firm. Yeah, okay.
That's a very good description.
Okay,
That's a very good description.
and that's huge because one of the biggest challenges I find for small businesses, I've obviously worked with small businesses for quite a few years also, one of the biggest challenges is they don't even know what to ask for.
That's right.
And so
That's right.
the first 5 conversations they have with different people is just trying to learn enough that they know what to ask for.
Yes.
You actually do that
Very
for
well put.
Okay.
Very well put.
Yeah, that's huge because I remember, and see if you've had this type of situation or have heard of this. I've had talking to somebody around this subject where, meaning websites and the like, where the person said literally, he gave me exactly what I asked for, and I realized once it was done, it was not what I wanted. You had the,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
And yet you couldn't blame the vendor. I mean, he even said, this person who made the comment said, the person tried to interrupt me a couple of times, but I thought he was trying to sell me.
Right.
And in fact, he was right. He had started the conversation about how this isn't really what I wanted, but I was, but he was treating it as a vendor relationship rather than as a team member relationship, if that makes sense.
I agree, and anybody that's good at their own business knows what questions to be asking a customer, questions that customer may not know what to ask, right? So I think I can say I've had the reverse happen on more than one occasion. In other words, someone said, thank goodness Mike didn't give me what I asked for, he actually gave me what I wanted, because he just didn't know or she didn't know, but that's not their area of expertise. Everybody is very good at something and ignorant about a lot of other things, right? So believe me, there's lots of areas of things I don't know about, but this area of developing an online presence that's effective is the one thing that I know a lot about, and I do it very well on a regular basis.
Excellent. Okay. Super. All right. Anything else that we need to understand about Mike to really understand what value he brings to? How do you like how I'm talking about you in third person? Anything in particular that you think would be helpful to add?
Yeah, I would say that there are 2 things. Getting the end result is very important, but the other thing that I recognize is that it's also very important that a business owner or anyone that's involved with this process is comfortable with the process. What most people take into consideration is when something like this is happening and they're having to learn something new, right, there's the content of what you need to learn. But just as important is the state of mind you're in while you're learning the content, right? The kind of the geekier way to say it is learning is state dependent. So in other words, if you're learning something and you're really stressed while you're learning it, the odds are very good that when you go back to whatever it is you learned, that stress is going to come back. And that is definitely something that will reduce productivity and overall using of whatever it is that you've learned. So we want to make sure that throughout the whole process, we keep the client as comfortable as possible so that when they're done with it, right, when the site is launched, when the social media profiles are built, when all that stuff is happening, there's a good association with the whole thing so that they'll use it and get the most benefit out of it.
Excellent. All right. That's good. All right, Mike, another thing that we do is that, our group is made up of business professionals looking to do better. And so one of the things we always ask is there a particular bit of advice that you've received or a book you've read that has really had a major impact on your business?
Yes, there are 2 things. There's actually a book that was written by my mentor, Dr. Joseph Riggio, called Foolish Wisdom. And it's a very interesting book on staying focused on what works, because that's a good question to always ask. How do I make this work? Every business I've ever seen that's successful, every individual I've ever seen that's successful, it starts out with that question. Because then when obstacles come up, the idea is to think, well, how do I get around that, right? So that's very important. The second one is, I would say, came from you, and it is the distinction that there is a huge difference between what is effective and what is efficient. I don't look for efficiency in dealing with things. I look for effectiveness. A good example of that is shooting off 10 emails a day may make me feel like I have done a whole bunch, right, to get back to customers. But as one client I was working with early on in my process with him, he was experiencing and describing his immense frustration with not being able to get people on his team to get something done that he needed done. And I said, why don't you pick up the phone and call them, right? Well, he told me in 24 hours he got it done. He got what he needed to get done with them. To me, that's effective versus efficient. And in building out a web presence, I'm asking that question all the time. And it makes a big difference in what people actually end up with as a finished result. So that's a good question. Thanks for asking.
All right, fantastic. All right. Well, thank you. Well, this, brings to conclusion our episode of Meet the Members. And Mike, I really do appreciate you taking the time and spending it with us and being brave enough to be our first one. Okay, that is always a dangerous position. And anything you'd like to say to our viewers before we leave?
Again, I just wanted to mention that we're a great place to come and offload your headache. If you're just not wanting to deal with this and you need it done right and you don't want to have to look over somebody's shoulder and you're going to get what it is that you actually wanted and you want it done in a way that's going to be comfortable so that you're having a good experience along the way as well, we're a really good choice. I understand we're not the only web developer, and there are lots of other people that do lots of different things, but for small businesses that need that to happen with that experience, we're a really good fit. So I think that sums it up.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, and until our next episode of Meet the Members, we say goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Art.
SafeMusicList.com, royalty-free music for marketing and promotional videos.